This week's video is going to be all focused around mounting, and really there were so many different things I could put in here because there's things like you can do, like there's obviously just the basic stuff around making sure that your horse doesn't walk off and making sure that your horse stands by the mounting block, and that's really what I focused on for this video. However, there's all sorts of other things you can do, like fun stuff like teaching your horse to come towards you at the mounting block. There's mounting from the other side to practice. There's all sorts of stuff like that. And actually the whole video could be like half an hour long. So I've just kept it to its basics and really just looked at a couple of things that you can practice, like a little exercise you can practice on the ground to really help if you've got a horse that tends to walk off at the mounting block, and also really around horses that maybe don't feel so comfortable there and how you can kind of work with them to build their confidence around the mounting block. Hope you enjoy it. Any questions, pop them in the comments. So first task we're going to look at is back up. Just going to ask my horse to come forwards there. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take hold of the reins and I'm just going to push backwards, just gently on the reins, and ask her to take a few steps backwards. And you see me there just rubbing her with the schooling whip. So that's great if you've got a horse that does that really easily. I'm just going to now show you what to do if your horse doesn't do that so easily. So again, just give her a chance, just get her stood up. There we go. And if she wasn't going backwards, I just gently tap with the schooling whip as well. Make sure you actually put pressure on the reins first. So you actually ask with the reins first, because ideally what you want is your horse to just go backwards off the reins. Okay. But if your horse doesn't, then you also want to make sure that you can do that by then just push backwards with the reins, add the stick in to help them. And you want to get it to where your horse backs up real nice and easy with the reins. You also want to be able to ask your horse to come forwards, just like I did as well. That's going to really help you with positioning your horse around the mounting block, making sure you can lead them forwards, they listen to that. You also want to make sure that they can go backwards, and that's really going to help with things like also if you've got a horse that maybe stands at the mounting block, but the minute that your foot's in the stirrup, they're off. Okay, so, and I'll show you how to deal with that then. Cool. Right. I'm actually going to do something I don't normally do, which is ask my horse to move a little bit here. So I can show you what would happen if you would, if your horse moves when you get on the mounting block. And this is why, I'm just going to pop back there because that was a little bit quick. But this is why we've done all that prep work about getting your horse to stop. All right. So if your horse is moving around the mounting block, as soon as you get on there, you can get hold of the reins and just put a little bit of pressure on the reins and say, please stop. Okay. And also when you are going to get ready to get on, you also hold the reins. Okay. So that if your horse does move forwards, you're ready, you're ready to actually stop them. All right. And you need hold of the outside rein as well as the inside rein. It's no good just to hold the inside rein. If you do that, all that will happen is the rest of your horse's body will probably walk around. Now, if that happens, what you can do is walk them all the way around the mounting block, just like I did, and then see if you can get hold of your outside rein again and ask them to stop. Okay. But actually just holding the inside rein isn't going to work because horses have got these lovely bendy necks, and so the rest of their body can go wherever they want it to go. The other thing you can do, I purposefully haven't done this, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with moving the mounting block a little closer to the fence so that your horse stays a little bit straighter. It's harder for them to swing their hindquarters out there. Okay, that works really well for some horses, not so well for other horses. If you've got a horse that gets a little bit worried in enclosed spaces, maybe a little bit claustrophobic, then they're going to struggle with that a little bit more. Whereas if you've got a horse that's not so bothered about that, that might actually be really useful for you and really help you out. As I say, on purpose, I haven't done that because I really want to make sure that my horse is good wherever I am. And again, if we're looking in the context of we might be out on a ride and we've got to find a tree stump or something to mount from, you may not have a conveniently placed fence to be able to line your horse up with. So ultimately you want to get it to where I've got it with my horse. Okay. And now I'm going to get my horse used to a little bit of motion up there. I'm going to jump up and down on the mounting block. I'm going to wave my arm over the top of my horse's back. Yeah, I'm going to wave my stick around. I want them to get used to, if my leg is going to go over there, I want to make sure that my horse is actually used to all of that sort of motion. And you see how she's not really bothered, but I'm also just going to tip her head, make sure she's seeing me out of her other eye. When you get on a horse, you're sat in a blind spot, so it's really important to make sure, especially if it's a young horse, that they've seen you out of both eyes. So because sometimes, you know, occasionally as well, also with sometimes with older horses, but also with younger horses that maybe haven't had a lot of mounting experience or haven't been mounted a lot, they get a little bit of a shock when they see you come out of that blind spot. They weren't expecting that. So really good to check all of that. But also, even for an older horse that maybe moves a lot at the mounting block, these are the sorts of things that you want to be checking. These are the sorts of things that you want to be having a look at and really going, oh, can I do all of those bits and pieces? If I put my arm over my horse's back, does my horse move? All right, do they instantly think, oh right, okay, now you're getting on, I'm going to get moving? Because if they do, bring them around the mounting block again, get them to stand again, and practice it until your horse actually stands still. Okay, and you might spend quite a bit of time on that. Same with the jumping up and down on the mounting block. That's similar to if I'm going to then, you know, lift myself up and actually, you know, put my foot in the stirrup, and I'm going to have some motion there. I'm going to stand up, aren't I? So, you know, again, just getting your horse used to these little things can be really, really great for just getting them to be able to stand still. Plus the fact after a while they start to go, oh yeah, that's fine. And again, the mounting block becomes a nice place because they just get to chill out there. The other thing I'm going to do is give her a little scratch there. I'm just trying to find the right itchy spot. So again, this is all part of getting the mounting block to be an amazing place, like the best place ever for your horse. Oh, there we go. Found the spot now. Yeah, so you can stand there, and I often do scratches, particularly on the withers if you've got a nice horse that gets nice and itchy, or on the neck or something like that. Those are great because they're a little better than treats. Sometimes if you use treats like food treats, your horse will turn towards you and swing away. All right. And then I'm going to see, like, if I stand up, if I, you know, lift my knees, does my horse move? I'm going to check all of these different pieces out. Ooh, my other horse is making a guest appearance. So that I'm going to check all of these things out so that I really know, you know, my horse is really used to this stuff and that she's not going to walk off. Again, if she walked off, walk around the mounting block, bring her back, have a stand, spend a bit of time with that up and down with your knees and up and down in the stirrup. Okay, cool. So now we're ready for mounting. So I'm going to take hold of both reins. Oh, just spend a little bit more time just making sure that she's seeing me out of both eyes. I'm going to take hold of both reins, stick, and I'm going to put my foot in the stirrup and take it out again. Foot in the stirrup. And that's good. She's licking and chewing, which is a really good sign that she's relaxed. And if I needed to, again, and I'm going to take my foot out the stirrup, just lift with the rein if I need to actually, again, if I I'm just practicing there. I'm just going to practice lifting up with the reins to actually stop my horse. So if at any point she walks forwards, I've got my reins ready to actually stop her. And then from there, and also reins ready. See how she wants to move? Oh, she's getting a little bit stompy. So I'm going to, so I've used my reins to actually stop her. I've got them ready there. Okay, so because she moved, I'm actually going to practice it a couple more times. Foot in the stirrup. Wait until she's standing still. Get on. Again, you see how I've got my reins ready to correct her straight away. Okay. I'm just going to check my girth because you know, my saddle moved a little bit, which is probably why she was shifting her weight a little bit. So I'm just going to check that girth right there. One of the things you'll notice when I get off is I keep my foot in the stirrup. Now, that's not necessarily the reason I do it is because I'm getting off onto a mounting block. Getting off onto a mounting block can be, especially when it's not a really, really big mounting block, can be a little bit tricky because you need to make sure that you actually land on the mounting block. Otherwise you can go flying. Okay. And so I personally find that easier if I've still got my foot in the stirrup. Okay. Because it just means I can lower myself down a little bit slower and find the mounting block. The one thing I would say about that is it's not always the safest way to get off, to have your foot in the stirrup. Actually, in a lot of cases, it would be safer to kick both feet out of the stirrups and get off, just simply because then you avoid the risk of getting off, getting halfway down and your foot getting caught. Okay, so the only reason normally, if I was just going to get off down to the ground, I'd take both feet out of the stirrups. All right, but in this case, I'm going to keep my foot in the stirrup just so that I can find the mounting block easily. Okay, but just something to be really aware of. You don't want to put yourself in an unsafe situation. And I'm pretty confident in my horse that she's not gonna take off. You can never guarantee these things, of course, she's a horse, but I'm pretty confident that she's not likely to take off without me. Good. And there she stood still. Oh, all the way until I put my other foot in the stirrup. So again, correct her with the reins. Just gonna ask her to put that foot back. And then I'm just going to keep practicing it until she can do it completely. Take my foot out, put my foot back in, get back on. She stands still, put my other foot in the stirrup. Great. And then just stand there. All right. Reward her, give her a little rub. This is a point where you could give a treat if you want to, and you can do it. What I would suggest is that you do it on the opposite side, okay? And the reason for that is then again, you're not encouraging your horse to turn around towards the mounting block. You're actually encouraging them to turn the other way, okay? And it also helps with that whole thing of them seeing you out of that other eye, all right? So that can be a really helpful thing in terms of like, and I'm treats or not treats, I think that's a really personal choice. Some people and some horses, it doesn't work so brilliantly. For others, it's a really brilliant way to, get your horse to put in more effort into doing what you want them to do. Okay. But the one thing, as I would say, is be smart about how you use them. Sometimes it's great to just give them a little food reward and go, yay, I'm up here. Isn't that lovely? Yeah. So either way, that's a bit of personal choice, but what I would say is use them on that opposite side, so you're still encouraging your horse to stay and stand where you want them to be.